Hello friends, welcome to EduTap. If you can hear me, if the audio is clear and the video is clear, please give me a thumbs up in the comment section. Recently, the RBI Grade B examinations results have been announced and many students who have prepared with EduTap have been able to clear the examination. Deepak sir and Anchit sir have been conducting topper stock interviews and those interviews are available on our EduTap channel. I would like to take certain names in front of you students. Jatin Kumar, Harinath, Viplov Yadav, as well as Veena Saundara Rajan. These interviews are already available on our EduTap YouTube channel. I request all of you to please go through these videos, understand how these aspirants have made use of material provided by EduTap and their strategy to clear the examination. And one day I am sincerely and very sincerely hoping that all those students who are participating in these sessions, right? For example, all of you who are participating in these sessions, I will be able to take your name. I will be able to say very proudly that yes, you all have cleared the examination. That is what we want. That is why we are coming out with these sessions, right? So this is the 29th session of ESI, Economics and Social Issues. ESI plays an important role in clearing RBI as well as NABARD examination. If you can hear me, if the audio is clear and the video is clear, please give me a thumbs up in the comment section. Good evening to all of you who are present. Pankaj, Runu, Abhinav, as well as Priya, Shirish, Ishita, Nilesh, right? Chaliye. Stay home, stay safe, stay online. There is a second wave of coronavirus which is emerging across many parts of the world, including at least Spain, France and Germany. Prime Minister Modi has already spoken about the second wave. So keep yourself safe, take all due precautions and do not put yourself into the way of the pandemic. Keep yourself safe, prepare online, prepare with EduTap. As I have been mentioning to you that the material that we are providing to you through the RBI Grade B, SEBI Grade A as well as NABARD Grade A course, the combo courses are available. These courses are available on the app. You should enroll in these courses and prepare very well for these courses and do go through the topper stock that Deepak sir and Anchit sir have been hosting in the last few days, right? We have also launched a SEBI Grade A master course for you. The details of this master course has been presented over here. Practice as much as you can and revise the practice that you have done, revise the tests that you have given, revise the learnings that you have extracted from those various tests. I have been requesting many students to answer the questions and many students have been answering the question. Ishita Tripathi, Shirish Bhatt, Nilesh Suryavanshi, Runu Nayak, Dimpy Deori, Engineer Bishal Gupta, Priya Gairi, Rakesh Kumar, Aman Pathak, Akhil Sridharan, Durlabh Raghuvanshi, Manipal Singh, Priya Goswami, Garima Pant, Abin K, Panshul Mishra, Sandeep Singh, Neha Tripathi and Tania Chug. It is my heartfelt desire, from the bottom of my heart I say that there should come a day when I should be able to read out these names as those who have actually cleared the RBI examination, SEBI examination, NABARD examination, whichever examination that you all are targeting. Now, I keep giving homeworks to you. It is also my duty that I discuss those homework questions with you. So what I am going to do is that today in a very rapid fire mode, I am going to place homework questions from 4 sessions in front of you and you all are expected to quickly give the answers to those homework questions. Very quickly we will wrap up this discussion. Let us begin with homework based on lecture 14, right? चलिए, पहला क्वेश्चन आपके सामने रख दिया है. Dash is the core banking solution of RBI. It provides the provision of a single current account for each bank across the country with decentralized access to this account from anywhere, anytime, using portal based services in a safe manner, right? Very quickly you have to all answer the questions. You all have to get 20 out of 20, 23 out of 23 for all the questions that I'm going to place in front of you, and at the end of this session I'm going to give you a new set of homework based upon the previous session, based upon some important topics, right? So chaliye, let us see answers for question number 1. Very quickly you all are supposed to answer because these are homework questions and these are questions you all are already supposed to know, right? Balachandra, Pankaj, Ishita, Ayushi, Abhinav, as well as Konra, as well as Runu, Priya Gairi, Shirish Bhatt, Ishita, Nilesh, Jitendra, Tanya. I request all of you to please start giving your answers very quickly. E Kuber is the right answer. E Kuber is the right answer. Thank you very much. Moving ahead to question number 2. If RBI is following an easy money policy, what are the steps it is likely to take vis-a-vis CRR, SLR, repo rate and MSF rate? The important learning from the first question is that whichever these small terms that you come across, this e-Kuber and core banking solutions and so on and so forth, know what they are. Just know the definition of what they are, and that may be sufficient to tackle a question in the examination. That is the nature of questions that are asked in our examination, and that is what we have to be prepared for. Now, Question number 2 is a conceptual question based upon monetary policy. Monetary policy is one of the favorite chapters of RBI SEBI NABARD examination. So if RBI is following easy money policy, what are the steps it is likely to take vis-a-vis CRR, SLR, repo rate and MSF rate is the question that is being asked. Is it likely to increase? Is it likely to decrease? What are the steps that they are likely to take? And Harsh, Ishita, you all have answered as reduce, and reduce is the right answer. They are expected to decrease. If you reduce the CRR, banks will have to keep aside less as cash and they can lend more. If RBI reduces SLR, banks will have to invest lesser in, let us say, gold and government securities, and they can lend more. If repo rate is reduced, banks can borrow cheaply from RBI and they can lend it cheaply across to consumers. If the MSF rate is reduced, again banks can borrow cheaply from RBI and lend it cheaply across to their consumers or borrowers. So this is what we need to do if we are putting into place an easy money policy or an accommodative policy or a dovish policy or a loose money policy. Then we will reduce these rates. On the other hand, if you are following a tight money policy, restrictive money policy, hawkish money policy, right, in that case we will increase all these rates. Moving ahead to question number 3. RBI had introduced a tool called LTRO. Quickly tell me the full form of LTRO and why was LTRO introduced? RBI had introduced a tool called LTRO to dash in the system as well as to ensure dash. So what were the two objectives of introducing LTRO and what is the full form of LTRO? You all are supposed to very quickly give all these 3 answers over here. Pankaj as well as Runu, Abhinav, Priya Gairi, Ishita Tripathi, Nilesh Suryavanshi, Rakesh Kumar. I am expecting a very fantabulous performance from you all and a very active participation. I want to see you all getting all questions right because these are homework questions. Every 3 or 4 weeks I hammer this point in that please revise. The nature of our examination is such that without revision you will be nowhere. Without revision your GA will be weak. Without revision your quant will be weak. Without revision your LR will be weak. Without revision FM will be weak. Without revision ESI will be weak. So keep revising, revise a lot. थर्ड क्वेश्चन का आंसर आप लोगों को देना है. LTRO का फुल फॉर्म यू ऑल हैव गिवन. रूनू नायक, यू हैव गिवन लॉन्ग टर्म रेपो rate as the full form, which is not the right full form. Long term repo operation is the right full form over here. Many students are writing long term repo rate. Okay, it is not rate, it is long term repo operation. That is point number 1. And many students are not giving me both the objectives. Why was LTRO introduced? There were 2 objectives of introducing LTRO. We have discussed all of these things. What were those 2 objectives? You all have to tell me. Why was long term repo operation put into place? It is a tool, it is an unconventional monetary policy tool. What is the meaning of unconventional monetary policy tool? Your CRRs, your SLRs, your repo rates, your MSF rates, these are your conventional monetary policy tools. On the other hand, your LTRO, your TLTRO, your operation twists, these are your unconventional monetary policy tools, because generally speaking you don't see them being used in India by our Reserve Bank of India. So for the first time in India, we were seeing LTRO and TLTRO and operation twist. That is why we are calling them as unconventional monetary policy tools. Let us say that we are using them on a regular basis, on an yearly basis. If we are using them, they will stop being unconventional anymore, right? They will become conventional. So that is the meaning of the term, or that is the significance of the term unconventional in the phrase unconventional monetary policy tools. Right, so all of y'all are giving me only one option over here, right? Shirish, you have written liquidity and growth in the economy. Your answer is wrong, Shirish, right? Rakesh Kumar, आपने मेरे को बताया है increase liquidity and transmission of rates, right? Ishita Tripathi, आपने कहा है कि increase liquidity as well as ensure growth, right? हर्ष, आपने कहा है कि increase liquidity as well as liquidity in mutual funds आपने कहा है for LTRO, right? I would like to be very specific over here. The twin objectives were inject liquidity, that is increase liquidity, and ensure monetary policy transmission, ensure that banks actually reduce the interest rates that they are charging from borrowers. If banks are given money for, let us say, 3 years at repo rate, banks can afford to lend that money across to their borrowers for 3 years at low rates based upon the low repo rates. So the idea of introducing LTRO was to inject liquidity, put money into the hands of banks and give the ability to banks to lower their interest rates. Banks have been given money for 3 years at repo rate, at low repo rates. So banks can lend that money across at low rates for 3 years. That is the idea. Inject liquidity and ensure monetary policy transmission. Now, I would like to point point out a very important psychological thing that has been happening with many students. Many students gave wrong answer. For example, Harsh is a very good student, Ishita is a very good student, Nilesh Suryavanshi is a very good student, very regular student. I take the name of these students on a regular basis. So why is it that these students gave answer wrong? Understand why did they give the answer wrong. They gave the answer wrong because they were relying upon their general understanding of LTRO. They believed that through LTRO, liquidity will be injected into the system. That liquidity will boost demand. Demand will get boosted, so GDP will get boosted. Since GDP will get boosted, so growth will be boosted. But that is not the stated objective of putting LTRO into place. The stated objective of putting LTRO into place is to inject liquidity and to ensure monetary policy transmission. What is the guarantee that by LTRO your growth will happen? Growth may not happen. Growth may not happen for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So the idea is that be very specific in the examination. The nature of the question is very specific, it is very factual, and if a tool has been introduced, you need to understand that why is it that RBI, what was the direct reason, what was the immediate reason for introducing the LTRO. And while discussing, I emphasized that in the previous year, from let us say January to December, the Reserve Bank of India reduced its repo rate by let us say 100 basis point, let us assume, but banks reduced their lending rates by only 20 basis point or 30 basis point, let us assume. So what is the meaning of that? The meaning of that is that the banks are not reducing their interest rates. Banks are not passing the advantage of low repo rates on to the consumers. That means that the monetary policy transmission is not happening. And that is precisely why LTRO was introduced. So my friends, what is happening is that if you don't revise and if you don't be specific, you can lose out on marks in the examination. And those who have given both these things, inject liquidity or increase liquidity as well as bring about monetary policy transmission as the right answer, should consider their answer to be right. Dash refers to the minimum interest rate of a bank which it cannot lend, below which it cannot lend, except in some cases allowed by the RBI. It is an internal benchmark or reference rate for the bank. So what is it? What is the minimum interest rate below which banks cannot lend? What is the internal benchmark or reference rate for the bank? What is the term, right? So I hope that you all are gathering, you all are understanding that why question number 3 ka answers were going wrong for many students, and I hope that something concrete is being taken away by all of you through that discussion. Right, that you need to keep revising, my friends, and need to be very, very specific, because otherwise it can be very costly in the examination. So Ishita Tripathi, you have given the answer as base rate, and base rate is indeed the right answer. Many students will give base rate as the right answer. Shirish Bhatt, your answer is right, base rate, right. Moving ahead to question number 5. Dash mechanisms are the channel through which changes in the policy rate affect the behavior of other economic variables, mainly prices and output. So another concept has been defined, a concept, or it is a mechanism through which the changes in the policy rate affect the prices and the output in the economy. So what is that mechanism? That is what is being asked over here. You have to be very clear over here. Right, so base rate is the right answer over here. Shirish, you have given the right answer over here. Pankaj Chaudhary, you have given the right answer over here. Base rate is the right answer. Base rate refers to the minimum interest rate, and many students have also given the answer as MCLR, that is marginal cost of lending rate. Now the reason many students have given MCLR as the right answer is that they will argue, and probably right, that they will argue that the concept of base rate is an outdated concept, and at present the concept of MCLR is more relevant. Now I don't deny this argument, which is why I will accept even MCLR as the right answer. I will accept even MCLR as the right answer, but the idea that I would like to highlight over here is that know these concepts. Your MCLR is not a fundamentally wrong answer, which is why I would accept, but even base rate is the right answer over here. So if in a question and option they are given base rate, select base rate. If they are talking about MCLR, be very thorough about what MCLR is all about. So 5th question ka answer I am expecting. Srijan Sengar, you have given monetary policy transmission. Rakesh Kumar, you have given monetary policy transmission, and monetary policy transmission is the right answer. Monetary policy transmission is that mechanism through which whatever changes in the policy rate are affected by the central bank, those changes affect the other economic variables. For example, if the Reserve Bank of India increases the policy rates, so the banks should increase their lending rates, as a result of which loans should become costlier. If loans become costlier, people should borrow less and spend less. If people are spending less, so demand should come down, and if demand is coming down, then prices should come down. right? So this is how monetary policy transmission ensured that by increasing the policy rates, RBI brought the prices down. On the other hand, let us assume that RBI reduces the RBI reduces the repo rate, or RBI reduces the policy rate. Policy rate and repo rate is the same thing. So if RBI reduces the policy rate, banks will be able to lend cheaper, you will borrow more, you will spend more, you will create additional demand, and because of your additional demand there will be an increase in the output, increase in the production, and because of the increase in the output or increase in the production there will be an increase in the real GDP, right? So the idea is that by reducing the policy rates, output was affected. So the idea is that policy rate and other economic variables are interlinked with each other, and if a change in monetary policy rate, or if the change in the repo rate or policy rate is affecting these economic policy variables, that means monetary policy transmission is happening. On the other hand, if there is if the policy rate is changed and yet there is no change in prices, yet there is no change in output, that means monetary policy transmission is not taking place. This is what you need to keep in mind. This is what you need to understand about monetary policy transmission. If you all have understood, please give me a thumbs up in the comment section. Moving ahead to the next set of homework questions. The first question has been put in front of you. Dash is an unsecured promissory note with a fixed maturity of rarely more than 270 days. And here again an important learning is going to be shared by me with you so far as how to approach your preparation. First, you'll give the answer to this question and give a thumbs up if you all have understood the concept of monetary policy transmission that I just discussed, right? So I request all of you, right? Pankaj Chaudhary, your answer was correct. Nilesh, your answer was correct. Rakesh, your answer was correct. So many students did not give the answer for monetary policy transmission wala question, and I am now hoping very sincerely that you do understand the concept of monetary policy transmission. Ishita, Runu Nayak, you all have been kind enough to give me a thumbs up. I request everybody else to please be kind enough to give a thumbs up if you all have understood, and if there are any doubts, please post your doubts. Ishita, you are asking whether the answer to this question is certificate of deposit. Now this is a tricky question, right? Let us see how many students are able to get this question right. Okay, so I am seeing many students are giving commercial paper as the answer, and the answer over here is commercial paper. Now I would like to bring a very important point over here. Now the idea is, my friends, that this commercial paper is concept not only in India, but it is a concept which is prevalent in America, it is prevalent in Europe, it is prevalent in almost many, it is prevalent in many economies, right? So now when we study about this concept, let us say from Google, right, which is ubiquitous in the present times, so Google will throw up 10 different definitions of commercial paper, including the one that I have placed over here, that commercial paper is an unsecured promissory note with a fixed maturity of rarely more than 270 days. So the key words are unsecured. That means that अगर जिसको मैंने पैसा दिया वो भाग गया तो मैं कुछ नहीं उखाड़ सकता हूं, my पैसा will not be recovered, there is no guarantee that the money will come back. So it's an unsecured promissory note with a fixed maturity of rarely more than 270 days. But if you look at the RBI website and if you look at the definition of commercial paper, so they do not mention anything about 270 days. All they mention is that it should not be more than 1 year. Maturity should not be more than 1 year. And an important learning over here is, my friends, that if you are given a choice, right, that what should be the definition of commercial paper as per you, should you select some random definition from Google or should you select a definition from the Reserve Bank of India's website? So the right answer would be to select the definition from Reserve Bank of India's website. So keep that in mind. Commercial papers are unsecured promissory notes. Commercial papers are having a fixed maturity. Commercial papers do not generally have a maturity of more than 270 days. That is internationally true, but the definition of RBI is something that you should also look at. Moving ahead to question number 2. Dash is a rating that signifies a municipal or corporate bond presents a relatively low risk of default. Dash is a rating. Now again, the level of questions in this discussion becomes a little difficult. Why? Because I'm not giving any options to you. There will be many students who, when presented with options, will be able to select the right answer in the examination. But the idea of my session over here right now is to not give you options at all and to challenge you to give the right answer without looking at the options. Why am I doing this? Because if you can give the answers without looking at the option, automatically in the examination, when the options are presented in front of you, you will very easily be able to select the right answer. So the idea is to increase the bar of difficulty a little more by not presenting options and expecting you to give answers purely based upon memory and purely based upon understanding, right? So that in the examination you all don't face any difficulty whatsoever, right? So commercial paper was the right answer over here, right? And I'm waiting for question number 2 ka right answer. Okay, I request all students participating to please give me a right answer for question number 2. Now Srijan Sengar, you have given answer as gilt-edged securities. Now gilt-edged securities, basically gilt-edged securities or gilt funds, these are basically government securities, and government securities are basically not carrying any kind of risk, you may say, because governments are sovereigns and they can print money to repay their debt, so they don't default on their debt, right? But gilt securities, like I mentioned to you, that is a different concept, and over here we are discussing a different concept. Robin Hazari as well as Rakesh Kumar as well as Nilesh Suryavanshi have given answer as investment grade, and investment grade is the right answer. See, the idea is that I'm talking about a general concept. Let us say your Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation, your Municipal Corporation of Mumbai, let us use a bond to generate. Another point that, and let us say that I decide to issue a bond. Let us say that Mr. Mukesh Ambani decides to issue a bond. Let us say that I decide to issue a bond. Now, whose bond will carry more risk? My bond will carry more risk. I'm telling you myself. Why? Because Mr. Ambani will probably be able to pay off his bond because his business is doing fine. Reliance Industries Limited is doing fine. Jio is doing extremely fine. On the other hand, I am not doing so fine. Are you getting my point? So the point is that whether a bond is an investment grade bond, that means it is carrying low risk, is decided by these various firms like Credit Suisse and ICRA and so on and so forth, right? Investing rating agencies which decide whether a bond is an investment grade bond or a junk bond. So what is a junk bond? A bond issued by, let us say, me, in which nobody should be investing money. Why? Probably I may run away with that money and nothing may come back to you. On the other hand, investment grade bonds are safe bonds where the returns are lower but your capital is secure, your money is secure, your money is going to come back to you. So that is the meaning of investment grade bond, right? So this is the right answer over here. I hope you have understood the concept of investment grade. Moving ahead to the next question. Dash means a debt instrument issued by a corporate with original or initial maturity up to 1 year and issued by way of private placement. So what is this debt instrument which is issued by corporates including NBFCs with original or initial maturity up to 1 year and issued by way of private placement? You have to identify which instrument are we talking about. See, the idea, again I would like to emphasize, is to be very clear with a lot of definitions, right? Because in our examinations, being clear with definitions can ipso facto means that we will be able to score 4 to 5 marks or 7 to 8 marks more just by clearing definitions of various concepts. Now this is the third question that I am placing in front of you. I request all of you to please be kind enough to give the answer over here, right? चलिए, रुनु, सृजन, नीलेश सूर्यवंशी, हर्षा गोपी, पंकज चौधरी, प्रिया गायरी, I am requesting all of you to please be kind enough to answer the third question. Nilesh, you have given the answer as non-convertible debenture and the answer is non-convertible debenture. It is a debt instrument. It cannot be converted into, let us say, equity. Its form cannot be changed. What is the meaning of the term non-convertible? It cannot be converted. There are instruments which can be converted from, let us say, debt into equity. Right? Debt is karja, debt is loan, equity is shares, equity is ownership. And I hope that you know that there is a distinction between a loan and between an owner. Let us say that you have given a loan to me, and let us say that you are a part owner of my company. There is a distinction between the two things. If you have given a loan to me, I will repay the loan to you along with interest. On the other hand, if you are a part owner of my company, if you are holding equities of my company, if you are a shareholder of my company, I will not be giving you any principal and interest back. Rather, I will be sharing a part of my profit as dividend with you. So that is the idea. So non-convertible debenture is something which cannot be converted from, let us say, debt into equity. So it is a debt instrument which is issued by corporates when they need money. So let us say Reliance Industries Limited will come out with an issue of non-convertible debenture with original initial maturity of 1 year, and by way of private placement these non-convertible debentures are issued. Private placement, that means that they issue it very selectively to a small group of people. Moving ahead to question number 4. Stocks are the most common example of held to maturity securities. Now, in one of the lectures in our live session, we had spoken about HTM securities and HTT securities and all of those things. Now, based upon that, I had given a homework question. Stocks are the most common example of held to maturity securities. Here again, I would like to emphasize that you have to be very clear about the definitions. If you know the definition of held to maturity securities, automatically you will be knowing one or two examples of of HTM securities. And if you know that example of what HTM securities are, and within that you will be able to see whether stocks are an example or are not an example. So that is again and again, that is why I'm again emphasizing that be very clear with the definitions, and let us see your right answers for question number 4. Many students have given answer as false, and false is indeed the right answer. Bonds are the most common example of held to maturity securities. Within stocks there are no maturities. Let us say that you hold a stock of Reliance Industries Limited or Asian Paints, for that matter these are very good stocks, right? So the idea is that these stocks do not have any maturity. It is not as if that they are going to mature in 2025 or in 2030. On the other hand, bonds have a maturity date. They are held to maturity. You invest in a bond for 5 years, 10 years, right? And you hold that instrument, you hold that financial instrument up to a particular maturity, and that is why this question ka answer is false. And bonds are the most common example of HTM securities. Please go through all the ESI live sessions if you have not already gone through them, and please download all PDFs from EduTap's Telegram channel and revise everything and be very thorough with your concepts. Dash is a debt and equity investment that investors purchase with the intent of selling within a short period of time, usually less than 1 year. So now we are talking about a concept which is basically your debt and equity investment, which investors purchase with the intent of selling within a short period of time. That means that if I am an investor and let us say that I have purchased some kind of debt or I have purchased some kind of equities, I don't intend to hold it for a longish period of time. I definitely don't intend to hold it until maturity. So that kind of debt or that kind of equity investment, what is it called? Right? What is it called? That is the question. So I would like to drop a hint over here. There is one type of security called held to maturity securities, and then there is another type of security called dash to dash mature securities. So the answer is in this hint. The answer is in this hint that I have dropped for you, right? And as expected, Rakesh Kumar, you have given the answer as held for trading, and held for trading is indeed the right answer over here. Held for trading security is your debt and equity investment that investors purchase with the intent of selling within a short period of time. And held to maturity securities are bonds which we are holding for a longish period of time. So that is what you need to understand about these concepts. Moving ahead to homework based on lecture 16, the first question has been placed in front of you. There was an additional special lending facility created by the Reserve Bank of India, right, through which the RBI decided to provide rupees 5,000 crore each to two important financial institutions in India. So which were those two important financial institutions which were provided rupees 5,000 crore as additional special lending by the Reserve Bank of India? This was recently done as a part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat program and so on and so forth. You have to tell me the name of those two institutions which have received rupees 5,000 crore, right? So Pankaj, Harsh, Akhil, Shirish, Nilesh, I request all of you who are participating very actively to please like and share this session so that other aspirants can benefit. And that is one sincere request that I have in this session and every session. I would say that do like and share the video. That is the max that I'm asking out of you, and do revise everything very properly. Let us answer for question number 1. So Nilesh, you have given the answer as NHB and NABARD. That is very good to know. And many students have given answer as NHB and NABARD. Priya, Naresh, Rakesh, Tania, Akhil. All your answers are correct. NABARD and NHB are the right answers. Moving ahead to question number 2. Housing finance companies in India come under the regulation of National Housing Bank. True or false? Housing finance companies in India come under the regulation of National Housing Bank. Is this statement true or is this statement false? Is what you need to tell me, right? So chaliye bata dijiye what are the right answers over here, right? So I'm waiting for answers for question number 2. चलिए सारे लोग जितने भी पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं, पंकज, श्रीश, as well as Runu, Harsh, Akhil, Tania, Rakesh, Naresh, please answer the question number 2 over here. For it is based upon homework based on lecture number 16th, right? This is the 29th session of ESI. I'm hoping that you have seen the previous lectures, and if you have not, you should see those previous lectures. It will be of really good benefit to you, right? So let us see the right answers over here. The right answer over here, okay, is false. It is basically under the ambit of RBI, right? So it has been recently changed, and this is what you need to keep in mind. Moving ahead to question number 3, name at least 7 sectors that have been covered under priority sector lending by the Reserve Bank of India. Now why am I asking you to name 7 sectors? Because the point is that if in your examination they give you, let us say, which of the following sectors come under priority sector lending, and they give you 5 options, or rather they ask you which of the following do not come under the priority sector lending, and let us say that they give you 5 options. then it will become very difficult to select if you don't know the name of all these sectors for sure. If you don't know the name of all these categories for sure, then it will become very difficult for you to answer these kind of questions. So the idea is that you have to raise the level of difficulty of your preparation a little so that the exam appears easy to you, and which is precisely why I'm throwing this challenge in front of you to name the 7 sectors or the categories which have been covered under priority sector lending. So let us see what your answers are over here. It will take a lot of time for many students to be able to type so much, so I'm going to place the answer over here. Agriculture, MSME, export credit, education, housing, social infrastructure and renewable energy is the category of priority sector lending which have been covered in India. You should know all these 7 categories, because if a question is asked, there should be no doubt in your mind that yes, this is covered, yes, this is covered, and yes, this is not covered. So this is what you are expected to do in the examination. Moving ahead to question number 4. Dash is the Chief Executive Officer of the Indian Banks Association. Who is the Chief CEO of Indian Banks Association? This is more like a GA kind of a question. Many students will point that out to me, and I accept that yes, this is more like a GA kind of a question. Sometimes it happens that while framing the question, the angle sort of goes wrong even for the person who is framing the question. So probably that has happened over here. But if you do know, please share. And over here, I would like to, share an important insight with you so far as our preparation for these exams is concerned. In our exams, names play a very important role. Numbers play a very important role, right? Therefore, what you are expected to do is that, if some important award has been given out, so just write down the name of the person who has been awarded that. Let us say some kind of an important appointment has been done. Somebody has been appointed as, let us say, the new Chief Justice of India, let us say. So just write down that name. So you should have a list of names. Similarly, you should have a list of places. You should have a list of numbers, and so on and so forth. You should have a list of full forms, because if you have these lists and you keep going through these lists, if you keep revising these lists, then you will be very well prepared for the examination. You will be able to perform very well in the examination. And okay, so Runu Rajkiran Rai Ji. Okay, so has there been a recent change in the CEO of Indian Banks Association? Because as per me, the answer should be Sunil Mehta. Sunil Mehta is the Chief Executive Officer of the Indian Banks Association. I request all of you to please use your Googles and to just check out whether this answer is right and there has been a recent change. Because so far as my knowledge is concerned, so far as my information is concerned, Sunil Mehta should be the right answer over here. But nevertheless, Rakesh Kumar has given Sunil Mehta as the right answer. I'm requesting all of you to please be kind enough to just check it out. Moving ahead to the last question. Priority sector guidelines of RBI lays down preferential rate of interest for priority sector loans. Is this true or is this false? PS, priority sector guidelines of RBI lays down preferential rate of interest for priority sector loans. Is this statement true or is this statement false? Again, priority sector lending is a very, very important component of our syllabus, and we should be covering it very thoroughly. Right? Why? Because see, the idea is that vulnerable sections of our society are getting credit through priority sector guidelines, through priority sector lending mechanism, and taking care of the vulnerable section, ensuring their financial inclusion, ensuring that they have access to credit. These are very important objectives, you may say, of various financial institutions in India. And to that extent, priority sector lending is very, very important. And hal filal mein, in the recent times, a lot of good changes have happened within the priority sector lending guidelines. So you should be abreast with those changes because it can appear in your examination. Fifth question ka answer many students are giving as true, many students are giving as false. Shirish as well as Sudhir Kurapati as well as Tanya, okay, no, not Tanya, Shirish as well as Sudhir, you have given the answers as true. Harsh has given answer as true. I would like to tell you all over here that the answer to this question is false. Within priority sector lending, there are no preferential rates of interest. Only thing that is being ensured through priority sector lending guidelines is that money flows to these sectors which have been covered under priority sector. There is no requirement on the part of financial institutions in India that they have to drop their interest rates or they have to give subsidized loans or they have to give cheaper loans. There is no such requirement whatsoever, point number 1. And point number 2, no kind of preferential rate of interest is provided by the RBI as a part of its priority sector guidelines. That is absolutely and completely false, right? That is what you need to keep in mind. And many students, many good students, many regular students, Shirish, Runu, you all have given the answer as true, right? The answer is false over here, right? That is something that you need to keep in mind, right? And these are the kind of questions that you should not be dropping in the examination. Generally, what will happen is that majority of the students will be giving this answer as true. Many students, I would say, will be giving this answer as true. But you should know, students of EduTap should know that this answer is false, because that is the edge that you want to create, and that is precisely why you are participating in this session. Another important learning which I have obtained from Pankaj Chaudhary, which I want to share with you. Raj Kiran Rai ji is the chairman of Indian Banks Association, is what Pankaj has written, and Sunil Mehta is the CEO of Indian Banks Association. Now, what is it that what happened in your minds? Let me tell you what happened in your minds. You knew that Indian Banks Association se Raj Kiran Rai ji is associated. You knew that. Why? Because you must have read it in our GA capsule, or you must have read it somewhere. So you gave the answer as Raj Kiran Rai ji. Now, the examiner will do what? That let us say that they ask you this question, let us assume. So what they will do is that in the option they will give both Sunil Mehta as well as Raj Kiran Rai ji. Now, if you have read Raj Kiran Rai ji in the context of Indian Banks Association, you will mark the answer as Raj Kiran Rai ji. You will not think twice. Why? Because you have read the name of Raj Kiran Rai ji in the context of Indian Banks Association, but your information was not complete. You did not focus on the fact that who is the chairperson and who is the chief executive officer, and that is the kind of information that you should have. That is the kind of distinction you should be able to make. And if you can make those distinctions, if you can do these kind of questions right, you will be able to beat the competition. You will be able to create an edge for yourself, and that is what I am trying to sort of emphasize through these sessions. Moving ahead to questions based on lecture 17. Simple questions, but these are the kind of questions which trouble many aspirants, right? Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program is a program under which ministry? Which union ministry is carrying out this program? PMEGP is the question that is being asked to you. Please type out your right answers over here, and if you all are getting new insights, if you all are understanding the nature of the examination, if you all are understanding how you should prepare well, please give me a thumbs up in the comment section, and please like this video. Please share your feedback right here itself, and give me the name of the ministry which runs PMEGP. राइट चलिए हर्ष राइट आपने कहा है. चलिए बहुत ही सारी बात अच्छी बातें हमने आपके साथ कर ली है. स्ट्रेटेजी की भी बातें कर ली है, ESI की भी बातें कर ली है, GA की भी बातें कर ली है. राइट, लेट अस अज्यूम, लेट अस होप दैट यू आर गोइंग टू बेनिफिट फ्रॉम दीज काइंड ऑफ डिस्कशंस, एंड प्लीज गिव मी द राइट आंसर फॉर द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. PMEGP कौन सी मिनिस्ट्री के अंतर्गत काम करती है? बता दीजिए. सारे लोग अपना अपना आंसर बता दीजिए. राइट, I request all students participating to please share your answers with me. Right. So Robin Hazari, you have given the answer as MOMSME. Right. Please, I'm requesting under okay. Shirish Bhatt has given the answer as MOMSME, and MOMSME is the right answer over here. Moving ahead to the next one, Manrega. It comes under which ministry? Manrega comes under which ministry? Akhil Sridharan, first answer is correct. Harsh, first answer is correct. Rakesh ji, first answer is correct. There is some lag. I am getting some delay in receiving your answers, which is why we are going a little slower right now over here. But I'll pick up my pace. The important thing is to understand the nature of these questions. Manrega, this comes under which ministry? So Ishita, Rakesh, Harsh, Akhil, Shirish, Robin, Hazari, you all have given the first question ka right answer. Now give me the right answer for the second question also, and give me the right answer for all questions. Right? चलिए, जो भी आप लोग आंसर दे रहे हैं, A MOMSME, B so on and so forth, C so on and so forth, D so on and so forth करके दीजिए, so that there is no confusion in my mind as to which question are you all giving answer to. Right? So Tanya, I am assuming, Nilesh, I am assuming that you are answering for the question number 1. Right? Okay, question number 2 का आंसर Harsh, Priya, you all have given answer as MORD. Chinmoy, Saiki, you have given the answer as rural development, and rural development is the right answer over here. Moving ahead to the next question, Pradhanmantri Rozgar Protsahan Yojana. This comes under which ministry? You all are expected to know the ministries of all schemes. You all are expected to know the point of origin or the year of origin of all schemes. You all are expected to know the budgetary outlay of the present year for the majority schemes or the important schemes. You all are supposed to know the features of all important schemes, because these kind of questions are being asked in your examination. These are covered as a part of EduTap's course. We have very thick booklets, very comprehensive booklets, very beautiful booklets covering the schemes for ESI, and within the ESI component, schemes play a very important role, and which is precisely why we try to cover it on different platforms at different points of time. So Pradhan Mantri Rozgar Protsahan Yojana, this comes under which ministry? I'm requesting all of you to please give answers along with the initials like A, B or C, so that I can understand that आप लोग ने क्या आंसर दिया है और क्या आंसर नहीं दिया है. Right? Ishita Tripathi, you have given the answer as mole. Rakesh Kumar, you have given the answer as labor and employment. Your answers are correct. Answer over here is mole, that is Ministry of Labor and Employment is the right answer. Pankaj, your answer is correct. Harsh, your answer is correct. Robin, your answer is correct. Tanya, your second question ka answer is correct. Moving ahead to the fourth question. Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. This comes under which ministry? This should not be a very difficult one to tackle. This comes under which ministry? Let us assume that they ask you some kind of match the following. Let us assume that they ask you some kind of a difficult question, and I am again emphasizing that know the full forms, know the ministries, know the outlays, know the year of starting the scheme, and know the most salient features of all scheme, and we have covered all of this as a part of our course. Do benefit from it. Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana is the question that I am asking. Many students have been giving the right answers over here. Labor and employment is correct. Saurabh, Chinmay, Tanya, Naresh, Nilesh, you all have given the right answer for question number 3. Please give me the right answer for question number 4 as well. Right? Harsh, you have given the answer as Ministry of Skill Development for the fourth one, and the answer over here is yes, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship runs the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. On similar lines, you all are expected to know the ministries of at least 50 important schemes of Government of India. Moving ahead, contributions made by human labor are remunerated through wages. Is this statement true or is this statement false? Very quickly, you all have to all give the right answers over here. Some 4 questions regarding true or false I'm going to place in front of you. The first one has been placed, right? Contribution made by human labor are remunerated through wages. Is this statement true or is this statement false? As expected, many of you are answering true. True is the right answer over here. Moving ahead to the next question. Contribution made by capital are remunerated through profits. इसका क्या आंसर होना चाहिए? ट्रू रहना चाहिए या फॉल्स रहना चाहिए? इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर आप लोगों को बताना है. चलिए, सारे लोगों से मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप लोग अपने जल्दी जल्दी आंसर दे दीजिए. इशिता, पंकज, अखिल, रुनु, शिरीष, तानिया, चिन्मय, नरेश, आप सभी लोगों का एक्टिव पार्टिसिपेशन चाहते हैं. हम आपसे आंसर देखना चाहते हैं. ट्रू आंसर आप लोगों ने दे दिया है. अब बी वाले क्वेश्चन का भी आप लोग आंसर बता दीजिए. बी वाले क्वेश्चन का आंसर ट्रू है या फॉल्स है या स्किप है, जो भी आपका आंसर है उसे आप सिलेक्ट करके बता दीजिए. राइट, चलिए, बहुत ही शानदार आप लोगों को परफॉर्मेंस आप लोग देने लग रहे हैं. सेकंड क्वेश्चन का भी आंसर आप लोग दे दीजिए. राइट, ऑल राइट. पंकज, चिन्मय, रोनू, तानिया, राइट. बी का आंसर इज फॉल्स. ओके. नरेश ठाकुर, आपने ट्रू लिखा है. किस क्वेश्चन का आंसर आप ट्रू दे रहे हैं? ए का दे रहे हैं, बी का दे रहे हैं, मुझे नहीं समझ में आ रहा है. शिरीष भट्ट, आपने फॉल्स लिखा है. आपने ए का फॉल्स लिखा है, बी का फॉल्स लिखा है, नहीं समझ में आ रहा है. राइट, आप लोग प्लीज नंबर लगा के अपना जो भी आंसर दीजिए. यहां पर इसका आंसर है फॉल्स. आई वॉज गोइंग थ्रू योर होमवर्क्स एंड आई सॉ दैट मेनी स्टूडेंट्स हैव गिवन दिस एज ट्रू. द आंसर्स दैट मेनी स्टूडेंट्स हैव गिवन इन द होमवर्क फॉर दिस क्वेश्चन इज ट्रू. You all have gotten confused. Capital is remunerated through interest. Entrepreneurial abilities or entrepreneurial effort is remunerated through profit. Do not make silly mistakes in the examination. I was going through the homeworks and I was shocked and I was rudely surprised to note that many students had given true as the right answer over here for this question. Moving ahead to the next question. Contribution made by fixed natural resources are remunerated through rent. Is this true or is this false? Is again a very easy question, right? देखिए, नरेश जी आपने कहा है बी का आंसर ट्रू है. आपने जो है गलत दे रहे हैं आंसर. नरेश जी नोट कर लीजिए इस चीज को कि जो कैपिटल है उसका रेम्यूनरेशन और कैपिटल का जो पेमेंट है वो इंटरेस्ट के फॉर्म के अंदर होता है, और एंटरप्रेन्योरियल एबिलिटी का या एंटरप्रेन्योरियल एफर्ट का जो रेम्यूनरेशन है उसका पेमेंट प्रॉफिट के फॉर्म के अंदर होता है. तो कैपिटल को और प्रॉफिट को लिंक करना गलत हो जाता है. ये चीज के ऊपर बहुत अच्छे से ध्यान रखिएगा. बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स ने इसका आंसर ट्रू लगाया था होमवर्क करने के दौरान पे, राइट, और वही चीज से हमारे को बचना है. सी का आंसर ट्रू है, बिल्कुल सही बात है. मूविंग अहेड टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. GVA at basic prices includes production subsidies. Now this is going to be a very challenging question. Why? Because basic prices, factor cost as well as market prices के अंदर we get confused. When we read those concepts, we understand those concepts, but when we don't revise those concepts get muddled up, those concepts get jumbled up, those concepts get converted into Hakka noodles, as a result of which we sort of make mistakes in the examination, right? So please revise the concept of basic prices, please revise the concept of factor cost, please revise the concept of market price कि कौन सी चीज के अंदर कौन सा टैक्स आता है, कौन सा सब्सिडी नहीं आता है. देयर इज प्रोडक्शन टैक्स, प्रोडक्शन सब्सिडी, प्रोडक्ट टैक्स, प्रोडक्ट सब्सिडी, सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. सो आपको मालूम होना चाहिए कि व्हाट इज द डिस्टिंक्शन बिटवीन दीज 3 concepts which we have covered as a part of our course, and many students have given the answer as true over here. I am requesting all of you that who all are giving the answer D का answer as true, please reconsider your answer. I am requesting all of you, right? Shirish Bhatt, Chinmoy, तानिया जी, एज वेल एज नरेश ठाकुर जी, एज वेल एज प्रिया गायरी जी, इशिता त्रिपाठी जी, मैं आप सभी लोगों से रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूं कि अगर आप लोगों का आंसर ट्रू है तो एक बार रिकंसिडर कर लीजिए, सारी चीजों को जाके अच्छे से रिवाइज कर लीजिए। गलती मुझसे भी हो सकती है, गलती आपसे भी हो सकती है, और ये कॉन्सेप्ट का नेचर ही ऐसा है कि मैंने आपको बताया कि बेसिक प्राइसेस, फैक्टर कॉस्ट, मार्केट प्राइस के बारे में हम पढ़ते हैं, भूल जाते हैं, एग्जाम में रिवाइज करते नहीं है जाने के पहले। एग्जाम में फेमिलियर दिखने वाला क्वेश्चन आता है, उसको हम अटेम्प्ट करके आते हैं, वो गलत चला जाता है। आंसर यहां पर है फॉल्स, आंसर यहां पर है फॉल्स। जीवीए एट बेसिक प्राइसेस एक्सक्लूड्स प्रोडक्शन सब्सिडीज। आप इसको रिवाइज कर लीजिए, सारी चीजों को अच्छे से रिवाइज कर लीजिए। कुछ स्टूडेंट्स ने, राकेश कुमार, पंकज चौधरी, हर्ष, आपने फॉल्स बराबर आंसर दिया था, अखिल श्रीधरन आपने फॉल्स बराबर आंसर दिया था, और बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स ने जो है आंसर ट्रू लगाया था। इसी इंपॉर्टेंट लर्निंग, बहुत सारी इंपॉर्टेंट लर्निंग्स हुई है आज के दिन। एक तो हमारा वो राजकिरण और सुनील मेहता के अंदर वी हैड एन इंपॉर्टेंट लर्निंग दैट please be very careful with these names, do not sort of mix and match them. Second of all, in this basic prices, factor cost, market price wala concept, there is harakiri that you all have made, you all are getting confused. Please revise those concepts. Third important thing, the important things like for example monetary policy transmissions and so on and so forth, know these concepts well, because these are important concepts and they can be asked in the examination, right? So these are some of the important learnings that we have discussed. Keep those in mind while preparing well for this examination. Now, a new set of homework has been placed in front of you. Almost 8 institutions have been provided to you, and try to do this homework out of your memory if you are an old student or if you are an experienced student, and if you have done this, right, try to answer out of your memory. And if you are a new student or if you have not covered these aspects of your syllabus, then take the help of whatever source that you want to take the help of and answer these questions. But in the examination, if they ask you a question like this, which they have asked in the NABARD examination recently itself, they asked that when was a particular institution established. I think the question that they are asked for related to IMF or World Bank, either of the two, that when was it established. I forgot that, but a question surely has been asked, year of establishment. So if they can ask you year of establishment of one institution, what is stopping them from asking you year of establishment of another institution? They can ask you headquarters of that institution. So the idea is that this homework has been provided to you. Please do it wholeheartedly, sincerely, and comment with your right answers within 1 hour of ending this video. That is my sincerest request. Please share your scores with me, and I would like to see how many questions have you all gotten right. I would like to see who has gotten all questions right. So if anybody has gotten all questions right, my hats off to you, my salute to you, because these are homework questions which you should get right. You should get all questions right. But if you all have gotten even, let us say, 90% questions right, I would say that it's a good job done. So please share your scores, right? I request all of you to please be kind enough to share your scores with me. If there are any doubts, you all can share your doubts later on, right? And regarding basic prices and factor prices and market prices and all those things, revise everything, right? Check everything out. There is always a possibility that teacher makes an error in the explanation. I don't think that there is an error on my part, but I'm always open for correction, and you should always be open for learning and corrections, and I should also be open for learning and correction. That is what I need to keep in mind. So Nilesh Suryavanshi, 17 out of 23 wrong. Thank you for the nice session. Thank you Nilesh for your participation. Akhil Sridharan, 8 out of 10, 1 skip, 1 wrong. Let me see everybody, please share your scores over here, right? Shirish Bhatt, 13 out of 20. Shirish Bhatt, 20 आउट ऑफ 20 मुझे चाहिए आप लोगों से। हर्ष यूर सिंह 3-4 रॉन्ग। हर्ष मुझे आपसे 0 रॉन्ग्स चाहिए एग्जामिनेशन के अंदर, मुझे आपका नाम जो है एकदम टॉप के ऊपर देखना है, राइट? प्रिया आपने कहा थैंक यू सर फॉर द नाइस सेशन एंड एक्सप्लेनेशन। प्रिया थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर एक्टिव पार्टिसिपेशन। आई होप टू सी यू अगेन इन ऑल सेशंस गोइंग अहेड until you clear the examination with the best possible ranks, right? Ishita Tripathi, you are saying as you got 4 or 5 questions wrong. I don't want to see a single question wrong going, Ishita. That is what my desire and dream for you is. With this, we'll bring the session to an end. Thank you very much for your participation. All the very best and Jai Hind.